Hi everybody, and welcome to Josiah is Right, and welcome to a brand new series where we look at individual comic books in a series. And where did it all begin with comics? Here. It all began here with Fantastic Four #1. But before we begin, a bit of mostly controversy-free backstory. Jack Kirby and Stan Lee both worked at Marvel through the years, with Stan's first credited writing coming in Kirby and Joe Simon's Captain America. It was an all-text piece, of all things to have in a comic book. It was different times, I guess. In the 1950s, Marvel wasn't Marvel yet, and they chased whatever flavor of the month sold funny books. Among them, romance, westerns, and monster books. Remember the monster books. That'll be important later. Maybe not important, but worth remembering. Probably important. The legend goes that the owners of National and Timely, aka DC and Marvel, were on a golf course. The Justice League had recently assembled to battle Starro, basically a giant evil starfish, and it sold pretty darn well. Martin Goodman, head of Not Yet Marvel, instructed Stan Lee to do a superhero book. There's more in between, some moderately controversial, but long story short, Stan came up with the idea for the Fantastic Four. Stan took the idea to the main man at the very soon-to-be Marvel, Jack, I Can't Wait to Be King Kirby. Now, without any more backstory, and hopefully no controversy, let's take a look at what Stan, the King of Hyperbole, called the world's greatest comic magazine! Although, he didn't call it that yet. And by the way, spoilers ahead, but you've had since 1961 to read it. The book opens with a great hook. There's a gigantic creature attacking the city. Reed, although we don't know who he is yet, shoots the Fantastic Four flare into the sky. Because, of course. What better way to assemble your team than a giant four in the sky? The opening is wonderful. With just a bit of mystery, it establishes each character through action as they assemble. With the team now assembled, we don't fight the monster, no. We go back. We learn how they became the Fantastic Four. It's really a proto-Marvel story, in that there's nonsensical science. Science is involved, but it really doesn't matter as it's very much minimized here. You only need to know Reed is driven to go into space. They do so to beat the Russians. The Russians always screwing with politics or comic books, which leads to the tragic aspect. The other side of the Stan Lee formula, nonsense science and tragedy. When they encounter cosmic rays, what are they? If you believe in the world that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created here, it doesn't matter. And I fully believe in that world. From the rays, they get extraordinary powers. Stretchiness, invisibility, fire and flight. However, with great powers comes great ugliness for Ben Grimm. In fact, he's so ugly, they call him the Thing. Ben and Reed are really at each other, both before and after the accident. Sue even gets into it, calling Ben a coward at one point. The team set aside their differences and agree to use their powers to help mankind. That wraps up Act 1 and brings us into Act 2. It's also important to note another novelty, comics with act breaks. And individual stories that fill the entire comic book, and eventually carry over to create an even greater mythology. Comic stories were not generally told this way at the time. With Act 2, we return to the present being 1961. The fashion is a dead giveaway. As is Sue Storm's hairstyle. No character in comics has done a better job of informing you the decade via her hair than Sue Storm. Maybe Mary Jane. In short, they get captured, but they don't know who's behind it all yet. And we finally meet our true villain, the Mole Man. The reveal of the Mole Man is brilliant in that we, as the audience, know, but the Fantastic Four have no clue. It's classic Hitchcockian suspense. Show two people at a table, cut to the bomb under the table. The audience knows it's there, those two people don't know it's there. Suspense. So who is this Mole Man dude? He's the proto-Marvel bad guy. There's a lot of proto-Marvel in this thing. And of course, there's also the Thing, which is himself very proto-Marvel, I guess. He's a villain, driven to villainy, not out of some innate evil desire, but as a result of people being jerks and rejecting him. He's right, though. People are sometimes, maybe even often, jerks. Even the FF are jerks to each other. It's kind of their thing. Even the Thing is a jerk. It turns out people are particularly jerky when you're an ugly Mole Man. Mole Man and his monster minions are where the old monster comics of just a few years before meets the new take on the superhero. And that formula would define much of early Marvel. Returning to the story, the Fantastic Four escape. When they leave him, they just reject him again, saying he doesn't belong to this world. They hope he'll find peace with the monsters he used to try to overthrow the surface world and enslave mankind. I'm sure he will. He won't use this time to gather his minions and plot his revenge, not just against the Fantastic Four, but all of humanity. You know, everyone who rejected him repeatedly. No, probably not. I'll see you next issue and for many issues of the Fantastic Four. Probably going to put these out monthly over the next several months, and we'll see how far I get. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Read some early Marvel. Great stuff. Stan and Jack, the best duo in comics ever. Bye.